The Carabiner 98 Kurtz, the K98K. You know, this thing isn't just a piece of history. It's an absolute masterpiece of mechanical engineering. Today, we're going to go inside this incredible rifle and follow one single round on its journey, from the moment it's loaded to the second it's fired. We're going to see just how brilliant this design really is.
So have you ever wondered how a simple pull of the trigger can kick off such a perfect, lightning-fast chain reaction? Well, we're not just looking at a bunch of metal parts today. No, we're actually going to follow a story. It's like an intricate mechanical ballet where every single movement perfectly sets up the next. And it all starts with the action, right at the heart of the rifle. And that heart? It's the legendary Mauser bolt action. This is the engine of the entire system. Honestly, if you can understand how this works, you'll understand the genius of the whole rifle. So let's break it down step by step. Okay, first things first, you've got to get around into the chamber, and you need to store up the energy to actually fire it. This is the setup, you know? It's where you and the machine work together to set the stage for that chain reaction we've been talking about. You know, the loading process itself is a fantastic example of just how efficient the Kar98K's design is. I mean, sure, you can feed rounds in one by one, but for speed, you use a 5-round stripper clip. You just push the rounds in and get this. As you close the bolt, the clip just pops right out. It's a beautifully simple and seriously clever solution for reloading in a hurry.
So as you're working that bolt, you're also cocking the action, which really just means you're compressing a really powerful spring. And this happens in two distinct stages. The first little bit of energy gets stored just by lifting the bolt handle up. But the final full tension, that comes when you push the bolt all the way closed. It's an incredibly robust and safe way to do things. Now, the key player here is something called the cocking piece. See, as you lift that bolt handle, this part is forced backward along a little ramp inside the bolt. That's what compresses the firing pin spring and stores up all that energy we need. This piece is the direct link to all the rifle's stored up power. And then, as you push the bolt forward, chambering around and finishing that cocking action, you'll hear a little click. That's the sear falling into place. It catches the cocking piece and holds it back against all that spring tension. You can think of it like a gatekeeper, just holding back a ton of energy.
The sear. It's a tiny little catch, but it is so important. It's the only thing stopping that firing pin from flying forward. Everything we've done so far, loading the rounds, closing the bolt, compressing that big spring, it all leads to this single moment, with the sear holding everything in a perfect, tense balance.
Okay, so all that stored energy needs a way to be released, right? But you want it to be safe and incredibly precise. And that's where the K98K's famous two-stage trigger comes in. It's so much more than a simple on-off switch. It's a brilliant solution for making a more accurate shot. So when you start to pull the trigger, you feel this initial bit of resistance, right? That's the first stage. It's like a deliberate cue to the shooter telling you, okay, take a final breath, perfect your aim. A little more pressure and you break through that stage. The sear completely disengages and all that stored energy is finally released. The firing pin rockets forward, hits the primer, and bam, the shot is fired. It's just an incredibly elegant system designed to stop a shooter from jerking the trigger and pulling their shot off target.
The shot's been fired, all that energy is gone, but wait, the mechanical process isn't over yet, not even close. The rifle now has to automatically clear out the spent cartridge casing to make way for the next one. And this part is just as choreographed as the firing sequence. This all happens in two clean, distinct movements. As you lift and pull the bolt back, the extractor grabs the rim of the spent casing and pulls it out of the chamber. Then, just as the bolt hits its rearmost point, the ejector kicks the case, flinging it cleanly out of the rifle. It's that simple. Extraction pulls, ejection kicks. Two separate jobs, one smooth motion. All right, so let's meet the key players for this phase. You've got the extractor claw. That's our hook. Then there's the spring-loaded ejector arm. That's our kicker. And finally, the bolt stop, which does exactly what it sounds like. It catches a lug on the bolt and provides a hard stop, setting the physical boundary for the whole action.
And now for the final piece of this amazing mechanical puzzle, the super ingenious 3-position safety. This little lever gives the user total command over the state of the rifle, letting it adapt to all kinds of different situations. Let's break this down. When the lever is pushed all the way to the left, you're ready to fire. Simple. Flip it to the middle, up position, and now the firing pin is blocked, so it can't fire, but you can still work the bolt to load or unload rounds safely. And when you push it all the way to the right, it's fully locked down. The firing pin is blocked, and the bolt is locked closed, perfect for transport. It's just an incredibly intuitive and tough system that gives you real flexibility.
And check this out. Here's one last little detail that just shows you the incredible amount of thought that went into this design. There's this tiny lock plunger hidden inside the bolt sleeve. When you're working the bolt, this little plunger pops into a notch and keeps the rear part of the bolt from accidentally rotating. It's a small, hidden feature, but it's one of the things that ensures the action is always smooth and reliable.
You know, when you put it all together, it's really a remarkable thing to behold. The journey of that one single round, from being loaded into the magazine to the empty case being ejected, is this seamless, perfect sequence of mechanical events. Every single part moves with a purpose, triggering the next action in a flawless chain.
This quote just says it all, doesn't it? There's no wasted motion, no parts that don't need to be there. It's a design philosophy built on efficiency and reliability, where every bit of complexity serves a very clear purpose, all to create a simple and incredibly robust outcome.
And that kind of leaves us with a final thought. This rifle's design is over 80 years old, yet its core principles, that robust simplicity and mechanical reliability, they're absolutely timeless. From spacecraft to simple wristwatches, where else do we see this exact same kind of engineering elegance at play in our modern world? Something to think about. Thanks for joining us.